One of my favorite things to do on this channel is to completely waste your time by teaching you Japanese slang terms that are incredibly dead, so that if you use them to young people, they'll be like, what? And if you use them to older people that might know them, they'll be like, that's weird. How did you know that? And today's Japanese slang term is a perfect example of that, because not only is this word super dead, the context in which this word would make sense is also dead. So let's fill your brain with absolutely useless information by talking about Bari-san. Now, Bari-san is a relic of the Heisei period. This is a shortening of Bari Bari Sanbon, or vigorously and three long thin objects. And the long thin objects here are the reception bars on your flip phone cell phone, which you don't have, which you may have never seen or used in your entire life based on demographic data that I get from TikTok and YouTube. But this is specifically associated with these old phones, specifically what are known as Garakei, or the Galapagos type Japanese phones, which, if you're not familiar, is a kind of interesting part of Japanese cell phone history. When Japan had these really super advanced cell phones that were way beyond what anyone else in the world had, but they were completely kind of locked into the Japanese ecosystem, so they weren't sold abroad. And then when the iPhone and all that came in, they just destroyed the market, because the Galapagos phones were very advanced, but they weren't so advanced to be, smartphones. But they had three reception bars and they would look like this. So back when these phones were in their heyday though, if you had full reception, you would say Bari-san. And indeed, as a result, this is a term that is very well known by people in between their 40s and 60s or so, to the extent that I actually found out about it because I was watching a Japanese video where they asked people in that age range some slang terms from their childhood that their kids would not know, and this is one of the ones that came up time and time again.
では40代、50代の方にどんな略語を使っていたのか聞いてみました。
バリさんとか。
携帯ね。バリバリ3本走ってる。そうだ。でも学生の時にバリさんあるよとか言って電波が十分。
How dead is Bari-san? Well, according to a recent survey, 72% of Japanese teenagers and 50% of Japanese people in their 20s have never heard of it, which means the number, of course, that are using it is even lower. And indeed, I stumbled on this joke where somebody proposed Bari-san as the #1 term for revealing what generation you were born in. And the reason for this, of course, is that while phones do have reception, we're not in the 3-bar era anymore. We've got 4 or 5. So the actual visual of this is basically gone. Just like a lot of young people probably don't understand why the save icon is a weird box thing. Whereas people like me remember using the weird box things in order to do things on our computer. So what this means, of course, is that we can say that Bari-san is not Bari-san, because beyond just its use as a shortening of Bari Bari Sanbon, when Bari-san was Bari-san, it was used to mean that also somebody's condition or vibes were good. So when this person says hi, and then that their Genki is Bari-san, they mean that that Genki is as Bari-Bari as a phone which has perfect reception. It's really a beautiful poetic metaphor. Here's a similar example of somebody using Bari-san to talk about the condition of SoftBank's stock price, which I think is a kind of funny joke. And here you can say that someone's feelings, or their kimochi, is also Bari-san. So again, that's a very good kimochi. It is a kimochi that can send and receive calls without any issue whatsoever. So when did all this start though? Well, of course we can find uses of Bari-san going back to the earliest dates of Twitter, but we knew this predated Twitter. Using Google, I was able to find a website that Google claims is from 1997, but unfortunately we can't trust that because the phone that is being depicted here with a clear use of Bari-san next to it was not actually made until 1998. But I will say that the website looks really old. So if this website was made pre-2000, that would not surprise me at all. Minimally, from what I can put together on the internet, cell phones really started to pick up in Japan from about 1993. And at least 2 Japanese websites I found argued that Bari-san came out in the late 1990s. So even if we can't trust that Google hit, that period of around 97, 98 may actually be the start. Do be careful of searching for this term in 2026 though, not just because it's dead, but actually because there's another use of it that has popped up and sees enough use that I actually am commenting it not as an obscure thing, but something that kept coming up in my data and I had to figure out. There's a now defunct band called Denpaguni Inc., and they have a song called Bari-san Kyowakoku, which is known as Bari 3 Republic in English. Now this song was officially released in 2015, but it seems to have been released more generally a bit before that, because I can find hits, for instance, going back to 2014, where somebody talks about the Bari-san being yokatta, or good. And while initially when I saw this, I was like, oh, it's a reception thing. If you look at the start there, it says Hisashiburi no Denpa, or the first Denpa in a long time, which hilariously Denpa does mean phone waves, but is a reference to the band. And as I mentioned, the band is gone, but the song is not. So If you want to look for real examples of Bari-san in the wild, do be careful because some of them will be in relation to that song. And so yeah, I wasted my time learning about this. I probably have wasted my time objectively making this video, and you've probably wasted your time learning about it. But I'm glad we could share the experience together. It makes my kimochi at least, Bari too.